Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Viktor. So Viktor came out yesterday. I have already 6-starred him and I was able to do so very easily. Konami, or Riot, gave us a ton of extra stuff. All the areas in the Arcane event got refreshed. Half of them had spots for Viktor. So between the Battle Pass, the Viktor Celebration Bundle, and the Arcane area, I was able to get Viktor up to 5 stars. And then I just used 100 Wild Fragments and I got Viktor 6-star, and it's fantastic. And if you look at his Constellation, I'm basically done. I just need one more node, which I'm about to get. I have what do I have? I have 24 Wild Fragments, and there's 20 more Wild Fragments on the Battle Pass, so I'll get it in just a minute. But regardless, I've played Viktor a lot. I've beaten 5-star areas with Viktor, so I'll tell you guys what I think. Let's get started. Viktor's card is... He's a 4-mana 2/4 with Augment. Augment is a keyword that says, when you play a created card, grant me +1/+0 permanently. Really good effect. And Viktor's ability is, when I'm summoned, or at the start of the round, create a Hex Core upgrade in hand. Hex Core upgrade is a 0-mana spell that grants Viktor a random keyword. Pretty solid. Then, if you played at least 7 created cards, he levels up into level 2 Viktor. 4-mana 3/5 with Augment. Your created cards cost 1 less mana. When I'm summoned or round start, create a Hex Core upgrade in hand. Very, very strong. Now, let's take a look at the deck after you've upgraded it. Forge Chief. Forge Chief is a 1-mana 2/1 with Strike, refill 1 spell mana. The item card that Forge Chief gets is called Skirmisher Saber. Skirmisher Saber gives you Challenger, and in addition, the Constellation gives you the option to give Forge Chief Bounty Board. Bounty Board gives the unit Last Breath, summon a random 1-cost unit from your region. So, Forge Chief is an easy way to get some extra spell mana, and she can use her Challenger ability to drag units away from you so that you can strike with Viktor and other high power units. When she dies, she summons a 1-drop. And because of Viktor's Constellation, that 1-drop will have Augment. So she replaces herself with a roughly equally powerful unit that becomes significantly more synergistic with Viktor's deck. This is a pretty clever way to do the transition from level 1 Viktor that just needs decent cards to win games to level 30 Viktor where this card is not good, but it can be useful in some circumstances. A very clever way of building this deck. And we'll see that throughout this. Viktor, surprisingly, not a single one of his item cards gives stats. So there's no Phage, there's no Studded Leather, there is a Studded Leather. I'm sorry. There's one Studded Leather. There's no Giant Spell, there's nothing like that. So it's primarily focused around giving you useful tools, which is something we'll talk about in a minute. Iterative Improvement. Iterative Improvement is a 1-mana spell with burst that says pick a follower, create a copy of it in hand with +1/+1. You can choose either your followers or your opponent's followers. It's a really useful effect. Obviously, if you copy a card on your side of the board, it will get whatever item cards that you have on it. So very, very strong. It gets Tear of the Goddess, which makes it, or a Mana Flow Potion, which makes it 1 mana less. Ballistic Bot. 2 mana 1/3 with Augment, and round start, create an Ignition in hand. Ignition is a 1-mana spell that deals 1 damage to the enemy nexus. This gets Great Club, so it has Overwhelm. That makes sense. It is the highest health unit in his deck, other than the Neandroid, so having Overwhelm on this cheap Augment card makes a lot of sense and does really good work for you. Then we have Boom Baboon. Boom Baboon is a 2-mana 3/2 When I'm summoned, create a Flame Chompers in hand. Flame Chompers is a 2-mana 0/2 with Challenger, and when I'm discarded, summon me. Boom Baboon gets Stud Leather. It's normally a 2/1, so that makes it a 3/2. This is probably the weakest card in his deck. This is the card that I cut the most because it does create a card for you, but that card is not very useful. And then Boom Baboon itself is not good. So Boom Baboon often feels like it's not worth playing, and if you do play it, it's not worth the space on your board. So cut this card. Clump of Lumps. Clump of Lumps is a 2-mana 2/2. When I'm summoned, create a Mushroom Cloud in hand. Mushroom Cloud shuffles 5 Poisonous Puff Caps into the enemy deck. A Puff Cap deals 1 damage to the Nexus when the opponent draws it. It gets Tech Evolution when I have Tech Unit and I have Augment. So this is really, really strong. Obviously, the Augment keyword gives it +1/+1, so it's a 3/3. And then it being Tech actually matters because, as you'll see, we're playing Beast Within, which gives all of our units with a subtype +1/+1. So Clump of Lumps with our build is a 2-mana 4/4 with Augment and Overwhelm. That's really solid, and so this card becomes one of our best cards in the game. Aftershock, this is dumb. Aftershock is a 3-mana spell, deals 3 damage to a unit or destroys a landmark. The item cards it gets are Charging Sigil 2, so it deals 2 extra damage for a total of 5, and Stopwatch, so it's burst speed. 3-mana deal 5 is already pretty good. 3-mana kill a landmark, already pretty good. But being able to do it at burst speed, so you can essentially remove one of your opponent's attackers or blockers during combat, is so powerful. This is such a good effect. I love this card. The Android is a 3-mana 1/3 with Elusive and Augment, and it has Crystal Carrier. Round start, get an extra mana gem this round. That's really good. If you have Mana Flow, if you have his 5-star, this is usually the card you'll play on turn 1, and it's pretty good. And then lastly, we have Mechanized Mimic. Mechanized Mimic is a 5-mana 3/4 with Augment and Attack. Grant me all keywords on all allies. It has Mischievous Spirit, which is when I'm summoned, create a Prank in hand. Obviously, creating a Prank is useful to you because that means that you have a card that was created, so you can play it really quickly and trigger your Augment for all of your cards. I mean, Mischievous Spirit is okay, and it does give you a tune as well, which means that you have an extra spell mana when you summon the card. But I was kind of disappointed with Mechanized Mimic. I feel like Mechanized Mimic doesn't need Nomad's Medallion. It is a pretty good card, but I feel like it could really use Ancient Coin. Just so it's 4 mana instead of 3. I guess their thought process is that you would never play it over Viktor, so it's a card that they expect you to play the turn after Viktor comes out, which I guess makes sense. But, I mean, you're not always going to have Viktor, so I don't know. All right. So that's the deck. It's very focused on Augment. You can see most of the deck has Augment. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 cards out of your 18 cards have Augment. So obviously we're going to have some strong synergy with Augment. So let's take a look at the Constellation. Technological Elite. Allies with Augment have +1/+1. Cool. The Battle Pass, the free version of the Battle Pass, gives you Viktor and his 1-star for free. So you will have this just by basically logging in and playing 2 games. I mean, it's the first node on the Battle Pass. So as long as you can complete, as long as you win 12 games, you will have enough to get this, and then you will be able to use this effect. So definitely play this patch and get Viktor for free. Next up, we have March of the Machines. +1 starting mana. When you summon a created unit, grant it Augment. That's really, really good. So, like I explained, that means that the bounty board that your Forge Seeker gets gives you like a unit that has Augment all the time. The Flame Chompers that you summon from outside of the Boom Baboon have Augment. If you create a card with the Technological Innovation, that card has Augment, even if it's from your opponent's side of the board. So just a very good, solid card. Then to buff Augment even further, we have Technological Elite 2. Allies with Augment have +1/+1, and your Augment's triggers gain an additional +0/+1. So Augment normally gives a unit +1 attack. Now Augment gives a unit +1/+1. And Augment can trigger multiple times in a turn. It's not like Fated. So this is Very, very useful. So, like I said before, the item cards that Viktor gets do not give you a lot of stats. So you want to get stats from somewhere else. And that is primarily going to be by playing mostly augment units and triggering augment as much as possible. So augment gives your entire board +1/+1 whenever you play a created card. And if that created card is a unit, that unit guarantees has augment, so it can continue buffing with the synergy, building your board. It's definitely like a unique idea. The main problem is that Viktor does not swarm. There's not like I haven't found a single way to make Viktor swarm, even with his 6-star. It doesn't really feel like there's a good solid swarming strategy. So you're not really going to be in a situation where you can ever buff your board and just challenge an enemy board that's super wide. Instead, you tend to build very tall boards, and we'll talk about that. All right, now there's 2 paths here, and this is insane. This is really, really good. So if you go left, you get his 4-star immediately, then 1 random star, then immediately mana flow up to his 6-star. So it's literally like 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 1 dead, 5-star, 6-star. That's the shortest constellation I've ever seen. It's so easy to get him 6-starred. It's crazy. Okay. 4-star is Spellburn. When you play a spell, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. This absolutely wins games. This is insane. I kind of discounted this when I first saw this. Like, I knew Spellburn would be okay, but I was just like, does that really matter too much? It's mostly like Jinx's ability. It actually matters quite a bit because of his 6-star, and we'll get there. Then he does have 1 gemstone path right here, which is actually really nice. I got this pretty early because I had the stuff from the Arcane event. +4 regen for Piltover and Zon champions. You can also get this on Warwick, so you could potentially have 8 regen for all your Piltover and Zon champions if you get it on both of them. That's actually really solid, and I've been enjoying the +4 regen. It actually helped me with Jinx. I used Jinx to beat Karma, and I really needed the regen. So this is good. Anyway, Starred Bounty, +1 reroll, +4 regen, so Viktor can get 12 regen. Or no, I mean, it depends on what level he is, but you get 8 extra regen from the Constellation for Viktor, which is really good. Because Viktor's main problem is that he's slow to build the board, so you do take damage usually. Mana Flow. Game start, create a mana gem. That's great. And then Power Surge. 6-star. When you play a created spell or unit, copy it. Insane. So there is one way that I've seen that you can kind of use this to swarm the board, which is if you have a 6-star, you can summon the Clump of Wumps, then you play your Technological Advancement on the Clump of Wumps, add a Clump of Wumps to your hand, summon it. You get 2 more Clump of Wumps because they copy each other. Then all of your Clump of Wumps give you a Mushroom Cloud. Then you play the Mushroom Clouds. You play all 3 of them. That gives you a total of 6 triggers of augment. So all of your Clump of Wumps gain +6/+6. So that can definitely be like a board that you could build. Then from this like little spot, you can branch off into the other gemstones, which is support cards have an additional item, 100% XP for Piltover and Zon, 5% chance to find epic items and powers. But then we have an interesting option. You actually, the Constellation connects in a circle, so you can go all the way up this line to his other side, which means that you can, if you want to, go down this path and actually pick up his 6-star without needing to spend money on his 4-star or his 5-star. So if you don't have any Piltover and Zon star crystals, but you do have a Nova crystal, you can just go this way and literally pick up his 6-star without needing to get his 4 or 5-star at all. So it's really flexible in what you can do, which is nice. So his other path is all of the buff cards. Hex Core Upgrade has Hand Sensor. So Hex Core Upgrade is the main core of Viktor's strategy. Hex Core Upgrade gives you a keyword, and so it getting the ability to buff the top card of your deck, which is what Hand Sensor does, is very powerful. In particular, if you have a 6-star, so every time that you play it, you copy it. You know, you're going to buff the board quite a bit. Next up, Star of Legends. Your support champions have tech evolution, augment, and become tech. That's perfect. You know, augment is really good for your support champions. It makes perfect sense with Viktor. There's nothing else that I would expect to be here. Then we have Forge Chief as Bounty Board. Bounty Board, of course, last breath, summon a random 1-cost unit from your region. So yeah, I already told you guys about that. And the last one is Star of Discovery. Followers you acquire in adventures have tech evolution. So everything makes sense. There's no misses here. You know, as far as duds on the tree, I don't feel like there's any. So let's go ahead and take a look at the relics. Viktor's main relic is called Perfect Hex Core. Epic round start. Create a Hex Core upgrade in your hand. Your Hex Core upgrades have stopwatch and can upgrade any ally. So not only does this have very big synergy with Viktor, it can be used on a whole host of champions. I'm probably going to make a video on Perfect Hex Core because of how versatile it is. But this is definitely a relic worth spending money on. Next up, we have Beast Within. Power allies have Overwhelm, and if they have a subtype, +1/+1. So both of these are just there always, even if Viktor's not hit the board yet. And of course, Beast Within means that if you have like your support champions have tech, your Club of Wumps has tech, and then once you get the followers you acquire in adventures have tech, then all of the cards in your deck except for your main cards have a subtype. So that's really good for the +1/+1. The last relic that I'm using is Chosen by the Stars because I don't have Echoing Spirit. Chosen by the Stars gives Viktor Fated, which means that if I target him with a Hex Core upgrade, he gets +1/+1, which is really nice. And then Empowered 10, so while his power is 10 or more, he has Overwhelm, Regeneration, and Challenger. He already has Overwhelm, and he gets Challenger pretty fast off of the Hex Core upgrade. But I really value Regeneration. I think Regeneration is really good, so that's why I play this. Okay, let's take a look at the gameplay. So we're in the middle of the Aurelian Soul Adventure. I'm at the end, so we're just going to take on the strongest bosses right here, one after another. I'll get this item card for Whirling Death. Okay. All right, so my deck right now, I've got Draven. Draven with Black Cleaver, Tech Evolution, Focusing Crystal, Excavator's Charge, and Spirit Stone. So Draven is nuts. Draven has been heavily buffed by all my cards. And that's basically it. Now as far as the powers, I've got LeBlanc's 3 stars, so I get a free Sharpen Resolve in my hand at the start of the round. Quick Draw, the cards I draw cost 1 less this round. Memory Game, start of the round, create a fleeting copy of the last non-fleeting card you played. Obviously, that's really good with the 6-star for Viktor. So I get a free copy of the last card that I played. Then when I play that card, even if it's a unit, I get 2 copies of it. Nami's 1-star. Whenever you play a spell, gain 1 spell mana. This is insane. Recycled Stone, just +1 extra mana from Talia. So I start with 4 mana. Joy Unbound, each round the first time you cast a fleeting unit or spell, you copy it. So that means that when I play my Perfect Hex Core, I get 3 triggers of it the first time each round. Lady of Light, each round the first time you attack, refill 1 mana for each attacking ally and draw a spell. I got really lucky with that. And then everything else you know. Okay. All right, let's get started. So we're against Ornn, then Anivia, and then Aurelian Soul. And if you don't know, this is the legendary climb, so whenever the opponent summons a champion, they double its stats, and whenever they level up a champion, they also double its stats. Okay. Okay, we don't have Viktor. That's completely fine. We're going to summon Draven. Alright, so let's start by playing Hex Core Upgrade. We're going to give Draven 3 keywords. We gave him Challenger, Fury, and Lifesteal. Then we will play Sharpen Resolve, which is a created card, so we give him +6/+2. Obviously, he has augments, so he gets +1/+1 whenever we play a created card. And then he also has, whenever you play a spell, grant me +1/+1 from the Focusing Crystal, and Excavator's Charge whenever you play a card, give me +1/+1 this round. Alright. Now the nice thing about Draven is that you can copy his Spinning Axe. Oh, wait, we're gonna... I'm an idiot, I should have done this already. Alright, we create a Forge Chief, so that means that we play a copy of it, then we just get this. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna cut one Whirling Death from our hand to play the Spinning Axes, which gets copied by Viktor's power, so now he has 2 Spinning Axes, so we can immediately level up. Vandal Spellstone, and then we Heroic Refrain, and that copies itself. Alright, so Draven's up to 56 attack. Alright, we Whirling Death on all of the units. Draven immediately levels up. Obviously, the Nami, obviously the Nami 1-star is doing a lot of work for this deck, but you get the basic idea. All right, Anivia, we're gonna get 1 extra mana, but she starts with 10, so we have 5. Oh, we have Vault Break. Oh, we're gonna go infinite then. We need Viktor. That is not Viktor. I don't think we can go infinite without Viktor. You got 67 health? Okay. Alright. So we Vault Breaker, which creates a copy of Vault Breaker in our hand. And we refill... The thing about this is that we refill 1 mana every time that we play a spell, and it copies itself now. So it refills 2 mana every time that we play it. Alright, we do have lethal now. Yeah, let's just attack. Okay. If I had Viktor, I could have gone infinite, because Viktor made the card cost 1 less when he levels up. And then it would have been 2 mana. So it would have gone literally infinite. And I killed Kaisa I killed Kaisa just with the spell burn. Alright, Aurelian Soul time. Obviously, Aurelian Soul has Cower Worship Beg, so at the end of the round, he summons a level 2 champion that has a stats equal to, or a cost equal to his mana. Alright, he starts with Aurelian Soul. Man, we don't have Viktor at all. This is just the Draven hour, as it should be. All right, so we let's see, we got Fury, Fearsome, and Deathless. Okay. All right, we can Neandroid now. Okay. Then we Vandal Tellstones to grab the Heroic Refrain, which we will play. Noxian Tellstones, grab another Whirling Death. Okay. He's going to attack. We'll play Whirling Death twice to get rid of the Spell Shield. And there you go. Alright, so that's Viktor with his 6-star and his paid relic. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.